This is Co-op Chronicles, episode 57. Welcome back to Co-op Chronicles. This is episode 57, and as always, I am pint-sized Geisha, and I have with me Blacklabel.
Hello.
And Azzilee.
Hello.
And today's episode is...
We're going to talk about real crimes, digital nightmares, when games borrow from murders. So maybe.
Speculation.
Speculations.
Speculations.
They're very oddly common, or coincidences in these things I'm about to bring up to you. Examples, you know.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, how's everybody doing? How's your week? How's your weekend? What's going on, Geisha?
I don't know if I should tell my story. I guess you told your story about your ball.
Oh, I did tell my story about my ball. You could tell your story about your booty.
Yeah, it's about my booty. So, my mom died from colon cancer, right? So, when was it? On the 30th. You remember when I was really sick for like 2 episodes? I was really sick. Like, I got a really bad stomach bug and went to the hospital, did a CT, and my colon was inflamed. So I had to do a colonoscopy to figure it out what was going on. If it was just a temporary colitis, so I guess you can get colitis, which is inflammation of your bowels through like a viral or a bacterial. And then it also could be like colitis and ulcerative colitis and stuff like that. And since I don't know my mom's history, if she had colitis or ulcerative colitis before she had colon cancer, I guess it's kind of like something that can lead to colon cancer. So my doctors all freaked out and was like, you need another colonoscopy. So I had to do another colonoscopy. Turns out it was just temporary colitis from my stomach bug.
Yeah, so she just got some images of her rectum. Her colon for no reason.
For no reason. I was telling Blacklabel, I was like, I guarantee you it's fucking fine. Every time I do this, they freak out and it's fine.
Yeah,
and they did. They freaked out and it was fine.
I know I have to do mine soon.
Yeah.
I messaged my providers and was like, hey, do you guys, what do you guys think? So we'll find out how, I'm at that age now where I have to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think the age is 50, but I think yours is 40 just because of, history. Yeah, but hey, get your booties checked because colon cancer is the number 2 leading cause of death in the United States.
Everybody's getting it now.
Yep.
It's
Younger
crazy.
people are getting it.
What about you, Az? You got some cool deals from the thrift? She got a cool fanny pack.
Oh, yeah, their neighbor is having, their whole neighborhood is having a yard sale, but their neighbor, she had this really cool bag that I got for $6. She marked it for $8, but she gave it to me for $6.
We get deals.
Because we get the
Yeah.
deals. We're her neighbors.
She gave me a free wine holder thing, which is pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
That we don't need.
If you guys are into thrifting, check your, local community.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have, yard sale days.
Yep.
Our whole neighborhood has a community yard. So I'm not gonna say it on where we live, but I'm just saying
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they put ads out in the newspapers, which
Yeah.
is like something I didn't know people still did, but I guess they do.
Yeah, a while ago, I was at Long Beach, and they had up the whole peninsula of Long Beach. They had yard sales.
Oh,
It was
nice.
really
Wow.
cool. I got this sweater, 75 cents.
Yeah, it's a cool sweater too.
yeah.
It just says Daytona.
But it's cool. It's
We
cool. It's
were
like
gonna
oversized.
participate, but I didn't do everything yet.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into
What
it.
about you, Blacklabel?
What about me?
How was your week?
Did anything happen to me this week?
Not really. We had a pretty chill week. Well, you
Yeah.
had a pretty chill week. I did not.
Had a pretty chill week. Yeah. Yeah, I think I just been, I don't know. I'm going through like a midlife crisis. Been trying to find like a second job. Need money.
You can work at the golf course.
Yeah.
what I told
You
him.
should- but
Part-time.
how?
It's just part-time.
You guys put the word in for me.
Yeah.
I need
I mean,
one.
doesn't Dakota work there? She can get you in.
Yeah, you could just work, you can either do inside, like cash registers, or outside, just take care of the range.
Yeah, I just need to do it on the weekend or something. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
It's only like 6 hours,
Yeah.
usually.
Okay. All right, let's get into it, guys. We're going to talk about some, as I mentioned, some digital nightmare type stuff where games borrow from murder. Very coincidence type stuff. So, some horror games are designed to scare you, and others are more in-depth on what they do to you. They root your fears from like bloodshed to real killers to psychological like horror, terror type stuff. So we're going to talk about some twisted intersections between like true crime and interactive horror, where like and from the way I look at it, it looks like they take inspiration from like serial killers or some sort of crime that happened when they make these games and the storylines that they follow. So we're not talking about like Easter eggs where fans theorize this is what's happening. It's actually like some of them are documented murder cases or government cover-up type things. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff and the real-life tragedies that found their way into consoles. Have you guys ever played a horror game and thought, hey, man, this is kind of weird. How did they come up with this idea of what's happening in the game? You have?
Yeah, sometimes they make like really weird games.
Such as Outlast. Outlast is a crazy game.
That game's really scary.
It's very
'Cause
scary.
it's like if you land in the backwoods, you're gonna die.
I just don't like it how it's like the VHS look.
Oh yeah.
That shit freaks me out.
It's the camcorder.
I like that.
Oh,
You like that?
I like
That
it.
stuff is horrifying.
I like
Do you like those types of movies as well?
Interesting.
I like Quarantine. It's kind of like that.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
Oh, it's just like a zombie movie.
Oh, is that the one? Oh, yeah, I think I have.
In
It's
the
pretty
apartment
old.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2000.
Yeah, in the big building. Yeah. I have seen it. Yep.
The 28 Years Later is coming out too.
It's out already.
Oh,
I'm
is it?
I'm gonna see it tomorrow.
Interesting.
I'll let you know how it is.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's fair for developers to use true crimes or crimes as inspiration? I feel like movies do, so why can't games?
Yeah.
I think it's just inspiration.
yeah.
It's not using the story, so I think it's okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's more of like awareness, you know? Like, hey, this shit happened.
Yeah.
Like, pay attention and
Yeah.
please don't put yourself in the same situation,
Yeah.
type of situation.
100%.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Manhunt. I don't know if you guys heard of this game. It's an old game
I
by
don't think I have.
Rockstar. Okay, so Manhunt, it was like very, I don't know, violent. It pushed the boundaries when it was launched in 2003. It crossed like a whole new line entirely in 2004 when it allegedly linked it to the murder of a 14-year-old Stefan Pekura in the UK. The media frenzy exploded after police initially claimed that the killer was obsessed with Manhunt, and a copy of the game was supposedly found in his room. Even after the police walked that back and confirmed the game belonged to the victim, the damage was already done. So it wasn't the killer that had it; it was the suspect. I mean, the victim. So, but it was already out there. So it kind of like made the retailers pull the game from their shops. Politicians were calling for bans of this game, and Rockstar became a target of worldwide criticism. Isn't Rockstar GTA? Or no?
I have no idea.
I think so.
I think it is, right? Rockstar's GTA, I think.
Rockstar's
Rockstar's
so familiar.
Rockstar's always been, if it's a GTA, I feel like it's always been in the media when it comes to like violence.
Yeah,
because they did
GTA.
they did like the whole shooting and all that stuff. But Manhunt was so controversial. It wasn't just the gore. In fact, that it mimicked the structure of snuff films. Yeah, and in that term new for anyone, a snuff film is basically like when you, what is it? It's like supposedly real footage of murders, right? That actually happened and disturbing illegal stuff that happens and occurs. While no verified snuff film has ever confirmed, Manhunt was built to evoke that exact fear, making the player feel like, yo, this shit's crazy on screen. You know what I mean? Do you guys, hearing that, feel that Manhunt went too far, or was it just people taking it the way it was like unfairly targeted? I feel like it's unfairly targeted. You could say anything can cause violence. That's although GTA is kind of crazy back in the day when they're shooting cops and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's unfair. Because
There's
it's parents' jobs to monitor what their kids play. you
Yeah.
know? And then
Yeah.
adults you should be able to regulate your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Agreed. That was a great answer. Geisha.
I concur.
Nice. Should games that reference real-world crimes be banned or rated differently?
I feel like just the disclosure would be helpful. Like, you know how they have a disclosure in movies and stuff, like based off true events or something? Maybe they should have that in like a video game, like based off of true events. So that way somebody knows before starting it up, like, oh shit, like this really happened. Maybe
Like, what am I getting
That makes
myself
sense.
into?
Type of situation.
Yeah.
I think warnings like that are necessary nowadays.
Man, I'm
Definitely. They have them in books now too. Isn't there like a
Yeah, there's,
trigger
like,
warning
trigger
in books now?
warnings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
crazy.
if they're like dark fantasy romance or like murder-esque. Maybe thriller might have them as well.
My murder mystery books don't have a trigger warning list, but I was going through Instagram and then one of the posts on the feeds, she was like, "This trigger warning list is long as shit," and I was like, "Oh, okay, have fun."
Yeah, if it has a lot, then maybe it's not most people's cup of tea.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Outlast. And the MK Ultra.
One or two.
Just Outlast, babe.
There's like three.
Just Outlast, babe.
There's
So
the
one?
trials too.
Yeah. It's Outcast, and it talks about how the...
Outlast.
Yeah, I said Outlast.
You said Outcast.
I said Outlast.
No, you did.
I don't remember.
Oh my
Listen
God.
to the VOD.
Oh, my God. Anyways, Outlast and the MK Ultra connection. So if you've played Outlast, you know it's very terrifying. I would never play that. I will watch people play that, but I myself will never take part in a game quite like that. So what makes it very uniquely terrifying is that it's not entirely fiction. At the core of the game is a sinister research facility and a shady corporation that does human experimentation. That premise is actually pulled from the MK Ultra. It's like a real CIA program from the 1950s and the early 70s. Yeah, so the MK Ultra was a classified government operation where CIA tested mind control techniques on unwitting people. Unwitting people. Where talking like LSD experiments, hypnosis, sleep deprivation, psychological torture. It was uncovered decades later through declassified files. In Outlast, the Murkoff Corporation basically steps in as the modern MK Ultra, using real tactics like electroshock therapy, sensory control to shatter minds. Basically, the horror isn't like the monsters. In my opinion, it is, but you know, it's basically what they're actually doing happen in real life. Is kind of the crazy part, which is insane, man. When you think about it.
It's like that one story. I think it's from Germany, either Germany or Russia, where they did experiments and they kept people
Russia.
up. Russia, where they like did
And
not
they
let
locked them in
sleep.
like darkness, right?
And they all like started eating each other's faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a real thing or was that a myth?
I thought it was a creepypasta.
It's
Yeah, I
a
thought it was-
creepypasta.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so it's not real.
It's not real,
I
but
was
it's like that story, you know.
Yeah.
I think
there's
it-
a
Yo,
lot
that
of-
shit
fictional
might
book.
be real though. Who knows? They got all that Chernobyl stuff.
That's
Yeah.
the creepiest creepypasta I think I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it often.
They start talking to themselves and speak. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
It's
and
insane.
eventually they stop pumping the gas in, and they're like, no, we want to stay awake now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Creepy.
Side
Yeah.
note: can we order like one of those little ones that I can just like hold?
What?
Little microphones with the little fuzz balls.
You can just take it off and just hold it.
The one that not as Dakota
Dakota?
has. Like I'm just like
But the audio's not gonna sound better though. It's not gonna sound as good.
I'm just being lazy.
But we might be able to. You
That's what I'm
could.
telling you. Get the arm one. So you can just,
I mean, yeah.
Like I need this to be.
I'll
The
like
get
arm
you-
ones
I'll
are
get
they're
you one.
expensive.
I'll get you one.
Yo,
arm ones
they're
are
like
expensive.
the road.
Or does there like can this come off?
You gotta unscrew.
Yeah,
this.
it's too much. You have to screw the top part right here because it screws into the thing. So you would hold this. Don't do it right now. No, it's not those.
For Geisha, she's
Just
getting
don't do
one.
it.
I just want to lean back and talk. Okay.
Anyways,
Just keep it like this.
stop making noises.
Sorry.
Jesus. But yeah, have you guys ever heard of MK Ultra?
No.
No.
Sounds
okay.
familiar, but I don't think I've ever looked it up.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if you guys heard of it and then played it, it's kind of crazy. Do you guys think games like Outlast are more terrifying because the root themselves aren't real world experiments, or just like the environment and the way the video looks?
Personally, I hate games like that because anything that's like can actually be physically done to me, I don't like watching.
Yeah.
Like I can't watch the Saw movies because I'm just like, oh, that could actually happen to me.
I mean, nowadays, this shit's crazy.
But that's just me.
I don't mind watching people play it. I still get terrified when I watch them play it, though. Like, who did I watch? I think I watched Markiplier play the Outlast series.
And you gotta hide.
Yeah.
Oh, so scary.
And then Scarlet Fox was talking to me about it. And he's like, you should play this game. It was the most terrifying game I played. And he plays a lot of scary games. So when he said that, I was like, no. Like, why?
I think 2 is the best one. Outlast 2.
Gameplay wise?
Story wise, gameplay wise, I think 2 is the best.
1 was really good.
I like the occult and the macabre.
What's the one game when you're like in the desert and is that Outlast 2?
That's 2. When you're in the desert and there's like a cult and they're like worship the devil.
And you're in like it was like a military thing and then Egyptian stuff starts happening around
No,
you?
that's Dark Anthology.
No.
What are you talking about Egypt stuff?
I watched Markiplier play it too. It was like terrifying. It's like where and you start hearing stuff when you
Oh, you mean the tomb one where you're in the tomb?
No. I mentioned
mummy?
this. I mentioned this before in another game, and Azzilee said she remembers it. It was like when you're playing, and then you start like getting scared in the game, and then your characters you start hearing stuff in your earphones. I forgot what game it was called.
Is it Amnesia?
It's Amnesia. That's what it is. Amnesia. Yeah. All right. Next one.
Look, my guesses were good too.
They were very. I thought they were one of those.
Incorrect, but okay. Until Dawn and the Echoes of Cannibalism. So Until Dawn is filmed with jump scares, quick time events, and obviously the slasher trope type stuff where all the stuff is happening, but there's something darker underneath it all, such as like the Wendigo. This creature, if people don't know, is pulled from American or Native American folklore. It represents a cursed transformation, someone who eats human flesh. You eventually become a monster. But the game doesn't stop at this myth, guys. It draws from an eerie inspiration from real historical events. And it's the story of Donner Party. For anyone unfamiliar with Donner Party, it was American pioneers traveling west in the 1840s who got stranded in the Sierra Nevada mountains. During a brutal winter. With supplies gone and no rescue in sight, some of them resorted to cannibalism to survive. So basically, Until Dawn builds on that real desperation. In the game, the Wendigos are created from cannibalism and isolation, twisting that historical horror into something supernatural. It is a scary mechanic, in my opinion. Anytime something like that comes, in the mix of just eating another person is horrifying, but if it does force you to consider how close we've come, from darkness into like real life. Like if that happens, like who knows? You can't judge somebody. You don't know what your body or you don't know what your mind's gonna do. It's terrifying. It's very terrifying, guys.
There's a podcast, the Magnus Archives. I love listening to it, but it's just a compilation of stories, like scary supernatural stories that the archivist tells. And one of the stories is this girl married a guy and they wanted to take the Oregon Trail to like find land and build a better life for themselves. And so then they got stuck in the mountains, and there was this guy, this creepy old guy who was like, oh, I'll help you. And he took them to this cave, and they were stuck in this cave. And so her husband eventually dies, and then the old man is like trying to coax her into eating him, and he's like, it's okay, there's no food, you could just eat him. And then she kills the old guy, and then he still in her head is like telling her to eat their bodies and stuff. And it's kind of like she was like, oh, it's just the devil tempting me to eat human flesh or something like that. And I was like, ooh, it's creepy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because you don't know what your mind does when you're on the verge
you're
of
so
like self.
hungry.
Yeah.
Real question is, if the three of us were stranded, who would you eat first?
Geisha always says
I'm
me.
sorry, you're the
I'd
smallest.
eat Damon first. He'd
You're the
last longer.
You're the smallest, so I could actually take you down.
That's what I told her. I was like,
But if we gang up, Damon will last
true.
longer.
That's true. We could just take him out.
One of his
Do
thighs
you
could
think
feel
you
a
could
vigil.
do you
Feed a
think-
village.
do you really think you guys could take me out?
turkey
together,
thigh.
together,
No,
Yes.
no, because Geisha's like
If
not
it's
big.
just you
I'm
and
just gonna push.
Geisha?
Geisha's because she brought this up. And
I'm
she
not
was
gonna.
like,
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I brought it up one day. I don't know why, but I have no meat on my bones. Okay, you're not gonna get anything from me.
but she was like, you'd
Nothing
be
at
the
all.
first to go, and I'm like, why? She's like, your thigh can just feed us for a month or
It
something.
can,
And I'm like, but you're like 5'5", 5'4",
and I don't have any meat on my
and
bone.
I would still. It's not happening. All right, you guys aren't getting me.
If together we could.
Together
if it
we
was,
could,
If it
and
was
he'd
just
last
you two,
longer.
or just us two, I'm dying.
No.
I'm out.
Did you
Last longer.
did you guys know of the Wendigo myth before this game was made?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
did not.
You did not.
Carry on my wayward son.
Oh. I feel like I
Very
played Until Dawn before I started watching Supernatural.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was like the second episode.
Yeah. I didn't start watching Supernatural till I was older.
So when you think about it, does the Donner Party hit a little harder when you think about the game Until Dawn? It might be a part of the same history. You know what I mean?
It doesn't hit harder. I think it just makes me sadder.
It's like more
Mhm.
coincident. You're like, oh.
It's. I don't think it's a coincidence because it's,
Well, it
it's
did
probably
happen,
a very
yeah.
much like reasonable thing to just conjure up based off of folklore and history.
Yeah,
It's just creepy.
it is insane. It is insane.
Definitely not unimaginable though.
Yeah.
I'm sure there
Mhm.
were people who resorted to cannibalism back in the day.
Yeah.
You know which movie with cannibalism really scared me when I was a kid was The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, the hills have eyes,
The
dude.
first one. Oh my god, it was
That's
so like scary.
terrifying. They just start coming out of the fucking hills.
Again, another
Yeah.
movie. I'm just like, it could actually happen to me if I get stuck
That's why-
in the freaking middle of
That's
the
what
desert.
I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
people, oh, you want to go for a freaking a drive, like a
Cross-country drive?
cross. Bro, have you not watched movies? Do you have
not
extra
watched Until
gas?
Dawn?
This
I'm
is the
terrified of running out of gas.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Same.
If I do this, I'm taking a great gas saver car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm packing at least 3 spare tires,
Mm-hmm.
5 jugs of gasoline, and a strap because ain't nobody running up on me crazy.
Trying to eat you.
Especially in the middle of nowhere, my car breaks down, and then somebody's like, "Oh, I can help you." Back the fuck up. Where did you come from? Why are you here? You're not helping me, sir.
You know
Mhm.
what drives me crazy?
And I
is,
won't pull up for police either in the middle of nowhere.
I respect Tesla drivers or like what are they called, electric vehicle drivers, but I could never on a cross country trip because that's scary having to rely on pit stops.
Oh yeah,
to-
you would have to Google like
load up.
Walmart and
Yeah.
stuff or
Mhm.
I'd be
wherever
too
they have
scared.
tests. Yeah,
I slept at a pit stop once.
a pit stop.
At a
Oh, like a rest stop.
like a rest
area?
stop, yeah. I was
Oh.
driving from Texas to Las Vegas
Was
to
it
see my
scary?
aunt. Not really. Well, to see
Oh.
my cousin. I was by myself, and I just
Yeah.
slept in the car. And I told my dad, and my dad was like, "No,
You gotta do the
you have to
seatbelt
get a
trick,
hotel."
where you like run the seatbelt
Through
through
the
your car
door. Yeah, they
Oh.
can't open it.
This was a
Yeah.
long time ago, though.
Mm.
But I'm glad.
Yeah,
I
that's the
didn't get
scariest
eaten.
time. A long time ago was
Yeah.
the scariest time.
Knock on wood. I'm glad I didn't get
Yeah.
eaten.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Dead by Daylight. Real archetypes and fictional masks. So we know Dead by Daylight. It's
Mhm.
I guess like they have like licenses for like horror icons, Michael
Mhm.
Myers, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, stuff like
Can-
that.
Side question. Sorry, I'm full of questions today. Who is your favorite iconic horror character? I know mine right off the bat.
I know the first one that scared the crap out of me was when a
No,
kid.
who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite?
Yes, who's your
Mm.
favorite? I'll go first. Ghostface is mine.
Mm.
Billy Loomis.
Yeah.
Billy
Ah,
Loomis.
Billy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Does this? Mine's Alien. Just the alien. Does that count, or do you want human?
I feel like that counts.
mine's probably
accept it.
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
Good to know.
because
I like
Freddy
Freddy
Krueger.
Krueger's story.
Yeah, that was like the
Mhm.
first one too. I watched and it terrified the shit out of me
Yeah,
as a
I
kid.
would have accepted Chucky too.
That's
Just
a
like the
scary one.
classic, like OG horror.
What about
characters.
the Leprechaun? Hey,
Dude,
yeah,
he's
that
so
shit's
creepy. He's
terrifying.
He's very underrated.
He's so creepy.
Or
though.
what's that
Ugh.
one horror movie? It was like something puppets where they're like the little puppet doll things are alive.
Oh, I think
and
I
they're
know
running
what you're
around
talking about.
killing people. The
Yeah.
Puppet Master, is that what it was?
It's really old, and
It's
it
not
was
the
like
Puppet
in an
Master.
abandoned like movie theater or something at the end.
I don't remember.
That's called Silence, I believe. Is that with Mary Shaw?
Oh, she might be right. She dropped a Mary Shaw. That sounds Puppet
I don't think
Master.
it's not that old though. It's like 2000s,
I think it is
I
Puppet
think.
Master. I'm gonna look.
Probably Puppet.
No, it
Master.
is Puppet Master with
Yeah.
this little guy. He had like little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's old. It's 19. It was like 1989.
Yeah, that one's
That's
old.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie.
Yeah, that when you said old, I was like, Silence
Yeah.
isn't that old.
And then there was like a Puppet Master 2 where they were like being invaded by aliens or some shit. Or
It got
some
weird.
It got weird, and the little Puppet Master people were like killing him. It was an interesting
Oh,
movie.
wait, I don't think this is the movie. I'm
Anything with
thinking
puppets
about.
though, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Puppet.
Can I continue?
Yes, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So the real intrigue lies in the original killers.
Oh, Dead Silence.
This one.
Yeah, Dead
Yeah,
Silence.
Dead
Dead
Silence.
Silence. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Mary Shaw. Mary Shaw.
So, yeah, you're
had
correct.
no kids.
Yeah. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So the original killers, many of whom have built around psychological archetypes and real-world horror stories. The Trapper, for example, shares disturbing similarities to a serial killer known as Albert Fish, who lured victims with manipulation and brutality. The Doctor, the original character, feels ripped from historical psychiatric abuse cases, like the electroshock and the lobotomy practices used on patients throughout the 20th century. The game doesn't name drop real killers, but a lot of the influences is undeniable. These characters are symbolic echoes of actual real trauma. The mask might be fictional, but that shit's crazy. I mean, obviously, it's very familiar what happens in that.
Yeah, they definitely
Yeah.
do a good job, I think, using like the killing methods or like the attack methods from those characters. Too.
They have like a
It's scary.
Five Nights at Freddy thing in there now too.
Yes, they have the set too.
Oh,
If
do
you-
they
Yeah,
really?
you can like go in and there's like the stage with the animatronic.
It's
Oh,
crazy
Death by
how
Daylight?
Yeah.
it's crazy
Oh.
how big that game is.
'Cause
I've never played
they
it.
do like seasons and they release new like bad
Killers
guys.
and stuff, yeah.
Like they did
Gotcha.
Alien for a while. They did
Really?
who did they do recently? I can't think of it.
I
But yeah,
don't
they,
know.
they
I
have,
only
like
played it
they
a few
had the
times.
Demogorgon and stuff.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they do a lot of them.
Which original Dead by Daylight killer do you feel like they could have existed in real life?
I don't know if they had an original killers.
No, it says which one do you think could have existed in real life? Like which killer in the game do you think could have been
Right.
a real killer?
Right. But the way my mind is thinking is like Death by Daylight didn't have any original ones that they made themselves. So all of them, they were borrowed from movies like Scarface, all that stuff. I haven't played it enough to know if they have an original killer that they created on their own. Get what I'm saying? My mind is logical. That's where my mind went.
Yeah, but which one would you think
Could
could
have
exist?
yeah. Which
All
one?
of them.
Oh.
Except Chucky and the Leprechaun.
No, the killers in Dead by Daylight, Bab.
I don't know the killers in Dead by Daylight
Okay,
besides
so-
all the ones that they borrowed from like Scream.
Oh, you
and
haven't
stuff.
played the game? and
Exactly.
seen-
That's what I just said.
Well, no, you gave an example as if you knew, and you're like, none of them could. If you don't know the killers in the game, just say, I don't know any
I
of them.
just said that. I said I don't know if Dead by Daylight made any original killers themselves.
They
All I
have-
know is the one that they've borrowed from.
Pretty
other
much
movies.
all of them are.
They have limited one. They have. I mean, not limited, but a lot of them are like supernatural based. So they couldn't realistically be real.
I'm gonna pull them up.
Like I'm trying to think.
Dead by
like
Daylight
the one guy who throws the
Killers
knives.
list.
I think that guy could like actually exist.
What was the one that was in that movie? Frank Stone, right? The Frank Stone one.
yeah.
That was a
But
Dead
that
by Daylight thing, though, wasn't it?
I don't think that's like an actual creature in the game.
No, it was
Unless there
supposed to be a
was.
character based off of him in the game, isn't it? I thought that was like the same universe.
It is the same universe. I don't think they have a bad guy that is that character though.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's just like a story of how Dead by Daylight came
So the
about.
Trapper, the Wraith, the Hillbilly. Oh, the Hillbilly.
Hillbilly
Yeah.
could be real.
Could be what is that one? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh, they
Mhm.
the Bubba.
The Bubba?
Yes, third row
The nurse is like the Silence. The Bubba.
or left side. Yeah.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, well, who's this guy? Max Thompson Jr.?
I mean, they're both the same.
They both look the
both
same.
they both use chainsaws.
Yeah, and they both got crazy faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, the head.
Oh, the pig. Yeah, that one's scary. That's like the Saw one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's creepy.
Yeah, they're insane looking. Do games like Dead by Daylight help us process real horror through fiction? Do you guys think?
Help process horror through fiction.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
don't
think the
know.
game's just terrifying in general because you're running from somebody trying to kill you. That's a killer, you know. But
Maybe.
there's a lot of people that are really good at that game, though.
Teaches me not to get caught
Yeah,
slipping.
Yeah.
To get drugged and taken
teaches
to
me
a.
teaches me how to fix a generator really quick. All right.
Quick and quiet.
Do you guys know what Condemned is? Have you heard of that game?
The
I've
game,
heard about
heard
it.
of it.
So, Condemned: Criminal Origins and the Psychology of Criminals or Killers. Sorry, it was released in 2005. Condemned: Criminal Origins stood out from the other horror games because it how deeply immersed players into it. It immersed them into decaying minds of actual serial killers. You weren't just fighting off monsters, but you were profiling them, investigating scenes, analyzing evidence, and all that stuff, getting ahead of the murderer. The scary part is it was accurate. The game took cues from real criminal profiling techniques used from FBI in cases of like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. The eerie, abandoned environments were more of a creepy set dressing. They echoed real life photos and forensic pools from actual crime scenes. So it's a reminder that horror doesn't always need to be supernatural. Sometimes just peering into the psychology of a killer and a person that's twisted kind of makes you insane.
Yeah.
Or-
I bet it is kind of. It would make a sane person crazy
Yeah.
delving into a psychopath's brain.
Yeah, you had to think about like the type of people criminal profilers are to
Yeah.
be able to do that.
I love me a good. What's it called? What's that one show called?
Forensic files?
Not NCIS. Where they're profilers
Profilers.
with Reed. Criminal Minds.
Criminal
I
Minds.
love that
Okay.
show.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think, or actually, sorry, do you prefer psychological horrors over paranormal horrors
Absolutely
in games?
not.
In games?
No.
No. So you'd prefer a supernatural horror
Yeah.
or paranormal?
Yeah.
What about you, honey?
Yep.
Psychological is so scary.
Yep.
I
What?
got a weak
That
mi-
doesn't
I got a weak
answer my
mind.
question,
I got a
babe.
weak mind, man.
Babe, that didn't answer my question.
Yep. I agree.
What is your deal over there?
Nothing.
What makes you like one?
Which one do you prefer over?
I like the supernatural one.
Why?
Is it
'Cause it
because you're
makes the
too
game better.
logical?
Yep.
So you're like, this makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
What's your problem over there? What's
Nothing.
going on? What is your problem over there, young lady?
Nothing.
Oh, you think that I'm picking on you, aren't you?
Yep.
I am not picking on you, honey.
You
I was
always pick on me.
oh
Don't
my-
worry,
I-
I'll help you eat him.
oh my God.
I legit said exactly what you said that I needed to say.
I
You
feel
make
like
me so mad.
I feel like you didn't say what did she say what I wanted her to say?
I did. I said that
Azzilee.
I
Now?
didn't know.
No, about
didn't
the
Oh, she didn't know. Yeah, she said she didn't know. But she
Oh.
was saying her brain is too logical, so like none of them, or they all.
maybe
can.
my brain is just not logical and I don't think what you're
Or
thinking.
maybe you just don't listen.
Oh my
Don't
God.
listen to me.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Have you guys ever
don't-
played a game where that game made you feel like you were inside the actual killer's mind?
No.
This sounds like I have.
Man, there's a game that I thought I played like that.
No.
I can't think of it right now. I've watched so many like murder psychological ones.
Yeah.
I just can't think of one in particular.
Yeah, I can't think of one either. I've watched plenty of people play it, though, and I'm like, damn. There was actually one, and I think it was made by Funcom, which I really love because I was thinking about playing Secret World over again, but they only have like 100 players that play it daily, so that game is super dead. It's been dead since like, I don't know, long as time. But it's a game, it's a MMO, but it brings in like cryptids. Like there's I think the first like biome leveling area is like a Cthulhu HP Lovecraft thing.
Hmm.
And then the second one is like, I think the second area you go to is like more of like a zombie undead thing, but it's really cool. But Funcom made it, and it was the game is you're a woman who goes to like a abandoned theme park because she's trying to find her son because she thinks her son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And but in her mind, I think the
Like
kid.
her son is already dead.
Yeah, her son's already dead, and she
Like
thinks her
this
son's.
whole situation
Spoiler.
already happened.
Yeah,
But,
I
it's
can't.
pretty old, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
old. But it's like I watched somebody play it, and it's like you're basically in the mind of the killer. I think she's the one that killed him, if I'm not mistaken, or something. He already died, but
Yeah.
you're in the mind of her and you're saying shit, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I can't think of the game name though. It was a good game made by Funcom.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. Because
Yeah.
it's a. There's two, right?
Is there two? I just know of that one.
Maybe it's just one. I'm thinking of a different game then.
Yeah. If it comes to my mind, I'll bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Gain and Ed Gein's Legacy. So in 2023, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre got a multiplayer horror game adaptation. Its legacy goes much further back. The original film was inspired by Ed Gein, one of the most disturbing real-life killers in American history, and the DNA still runs through the game in a way. If you don't know who Ed Gein is, so he was a 1950s Wisconsin man who exhumed corpses and made furniture out of human skin, and inspired more than just Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He also served as the basis for Psycho, The Silence of Lambs, Resident Evil's 7 Baker Family. So when you load into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, you're creeping through a strewed farmhouse, and you're stepping into, not just stepping into fiction. You're stepping into something that's like a legacy of one of the most gruesome killers ever recorded. Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought about this. There's a game that just came out. It's called Asylum, and it's literally so good. But it's like a mystery. But I don't want to give it away because it's so good. But you should play it if you like psychological horror / whatever. It's really good.
Psychological horror.
Yeah, it's like a mystery, psychological horror.
Blacklabel's too much of a baby to play it.
Excuse me?
It's not like scary. It's like you're unraveling a mystery. It's just creepy.
What are
But
you talking about?
You should play it. It's good.
What is she saying? That I'm a baby and I won't play it?
You're too scared
Yeah, you
to
don't
play
like
it.
horror games. It's
Oh.
not really horror. I wouldn't say it's horror. It's good.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just thought about it.
No, you're good.
I feel like we should be free to interrupt all the time.
Yeah, you're free. Go ahead. You
But
guys are
then somebody makes a big deal about
well,
it.
it's because I start forgetting what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Sorry.
Oh, it's called The Park.
Oh yeah.
2015. It's
Yeah.
called The Park.
Yes.
Okay. How does knowing Ed Gein's connection change the way you see a game like this? Or just in general, a killer's connection to that certain game? How do you see the game as you're playing it?
Sorry, repeat the question.
How does knowing Ed Gein's connection or how does it change the way you see the game or way you play the game? Do you just play the game just thinking, oh, it's just a game? Or do you play the game like, this is history of like some crazy ass dude?
Nope, I just play it.
I know how you are. Logical.
I'd probably go crazy.
Can you stop with the looking sad and mopey shit over there? I'm tired of this. I'm watching you over there looking at clothes, and you just like
this.
this.
Is what I have to deal with all the goddamn time. Drives me insane.
No.
Yes, it does.
When I know a game is based off of like a real life person, it gets spooky, but it's also really interesting because sometimes I don't know a lot about serial killers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, this is kind of like what he did in real life.
Yeah.
Or
it
based
is
off of something he did in real life.
true. Facts. Yeah. Do you think horror games should distance themselves from real life murders or something like that, or inspirations, or do you think it's more helpful to get inspiration for?
Hard to say.
I say get inspiration wherever you can.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like if I was murdered, I'd want people to know my story, Get it out there, tell the world, put it as like a, hey, this happened to somebody.
But
it
would you
might
want it
happen
done
to you.
as like a documentary, a book, or a game? Like, which would be more offensive?
Probably a
Offensive?
video game would be more offensive to
Probably
me.
a book for me.
More offensive?
I don't know. I don't really read that much. I mean,
No one's gonna know my story if
Yeah.
they have to read it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the families might take offense to it, but and maybe
Yeah, because you're not really telling the story of the victim. You're more telling the story of the killer.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but you gotta make the story real good though. You know,
Mhm.
you can't just like make it crummy. If you make a really good plot story from it, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't half-ass it.
Yeah. All right. The Suffering. I don't know if you guys heard of this game. So The Suffering, it was a 2004 game. It wasn't just horror. It was a brutal allegory type thing set in a haunted prison where inmates are twisted into monsters based on their crimes. The game tackled more than just ghosts. It drove into the brutality of incarceration, referencing real-world abuses like solitary confinement, execution methods, and psychiatric torture. The creatures themselves are designed after actual methods of capital punishment. For example, one of the enemies has a body wired with electric cables, representing the electric chair. Another drags around gas canisters, referencing a gas chamber. It was a game ahead of its time, trying to ask the player, what if the prison is the monster? And that especially hit hard during the early 2000s when news stories about abuse in facilities like Abu Ghraib were just coming to light. Yeah. Do you guys think horror games that can criticize or just like bring like inspiration such as like, type of execution into a monster, how do you guys think about that? Do you think it's pretty cool?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's very good. That's very well done.
Yeah, to come up with a monster, be like, yeah.
I like that. There's a lot of it's like hidden symbolism.
I wish they would remake that.
Yeah, that'd be a cool game. I've never even heard of that game.
Yeah, because 21 years ago is a long time, especially like in technology game, like referencing, like the way you just look at a game like maybe like not even like 8 years ago, it's completely different nowadays. Yeah. What about you, babe? Tell me. Do you think that's pretty cool?
Yeah, I do actually. Symbolism is great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like you like Bloodborne. That's heavy.
I was about to just say that is like
Mhm.
H.P. Lovecraft very symbolic his stuff or no?
I wouldn't say it's.
Yeah, I wouldn't
symbolic.
say so.
Oh, it's probably more so how crazy he was, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
his mental side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, kind of it does reflect his deteriorating mind.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
But you gotta think this was like in the early 18s, 17s, I don't know what year it was.
80s.
1880s, late 1800s.
But yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Not so
deteriorating
much
mind.
symbolism, yeah, but just
The mental
Craziness,
breakdown of a
yeah.
person.
yeah.
So I got a game that was terrifying, and I never played it, but I have watched people play it, and I know people have talked about it.
Too scary.
I don't play scary games, so I don't know if you guys ever heard of this game, Fatal Frame.
Yes.
It's a Japanese game.
Yes.
You've never heard of
love
this,
that
babe?
game.
Nope.
You gotta watch people play. It's
Yeah.
it's an older game. So Fatal Frame, it was also known as Project Zero, depending on your region, is about capturing spirits with mystical cameras. But the ghostly roots go back to a blend of Japanese folklore
think
and
I have
real
seen this
urban legends. So one inspiration for the game's camera obscure came from Shinto exorcism practice, where objects are believed to be trapped in spiritual energy. But the scariest influence was tales of an ancient village that performed strangling rituals to appease gods, sacrificing women and binding them in ropes. These myths were passed down orally, but some were linked to actual archaeology sites where ritualistic remains were found. So Fatal Frame, it pulls from these stories directly, turning, the idea of photography or photographing a spirit into something intimate and horrifying. Yeah.
Again, it's not so much creepy. I think it's just really sad. It's really depressing because it's a girl trying to find her sister.
Yeah.
And it's like you go through this whole storyline. And they even have a second one.
Yeah.
And it's not the same person.
It's not.
Yes,
No. Yeah.
it's different, but it's really sad. It's that one. The
Is
second
that
one
the-
is
is
trying
that-
to find
that's
her
not-
boyfriend, right? I think.
There's another game called like Hope or New Hope, and I feel like it's like fairly similar.
I don't know.
I'm probably wrong though.
No idea. Sorry.
What are you looking at over there, Beb?
You said sacrifice, so I wanted to,
The Shinto exorcism practices.
no, I started looking into the old sacrifices site in Hawaii.
Oh.
My mind went sideways and was like, oh yeah, Hawaiian people used to sacrifice people all the time.
Yeah.
You can
Speaking of
actually go visit where they used to do it.
Okay.
Is it bad luck to go there?
It's not necessarily bad luck, but it's kind of like,
Is it frowned upon by the locals?
I don't know.
If you're
to
like
be
a
honest.
tourist and was like, I have to go
Well,
see
they
this
don't.
place.
For some reason, they don't like tourists a lot, really.
Yeah, because the whole reason why the Hawaiian local people don't like tourists is because tourists they don't grow up in the same sense of like having respect for elderly people, having respect for everyone, and having respect for the land itself as well. Like you have to respect it enough, like
What do they call me?
a haole,
A haole or a
Yeah.
hapa haole.
a hapa haole. Like, you know, if we were in Hawaii and I went to the grocery store and
Azzilee would be a hapa haole too.
Yep. And like we were in the supermarket and the lady checking us out, you know, I'd call her auntie, like, oh, thanks, auntie.
What
Everybody's
does-
auntie,
what does
everybody's
that mean?
uncles. It's just showing respect.
No, like a haole.
Haole is
Haole
like
is
white,
white
people,
person.
and then
Oh.
hapa is
Hapa
like
is half.
mixed. Yeah.
Half.
Yeah,
Hapa haole, so half white.
half white.
Hey
Mhm.
man, I can't
Sorry,
be
sorry,
mad.
no.
They're just pointing out the facts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's why a lot of like local people don't like tourists is because like they're not very respectful in the same sense of like you just don't respect each other, you respect the land itself too
Yeah.
and each other, and you don't act like you know everything about Hawaii when you don't.
Yeah, I
type
feel
of
like that's like
situation.
the bad thing though. Like some tourists really appreciate Hawaii. You know, I feel like what is it? What do they say? Imitation's like the best form of flattery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like you just have to
like I really
Be
enjoyed
nice.
being there, and
Yeah.
and I know I'm probably like looked at like, what is this tourist doing? But I'm like, man, it's just beautiful there.
Well,
Mhm.
some tourists just go to like get sun and go on the beaches
Yeah.
and be a menace.
Mhm.
And some
Mhm.
people, no matter where you go, some
Yeah.
people just are there for like the culture.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just like.
I
it's
would
just-
like to do some hikes.
It's beautiful there.
Mhm.
The food is great. People are
Yeah.
super cool. I remember we were driving on the freeway, and everybody's like, nobody speeds there.
Beep, beep.
And there was
Yeah,
this one,
nobody does.
and we were driving in Honolulu, or driving to there. It was when we went to go eat with your auntie and everybody.
Mhm.
And then like this girl, I don't know if it was raining, but it was dark, and this girl kept trying to pass. No, it wasn't raining. And she kept trying to pass, and then she would slow down. I'm like, are you going to get in front of me? And then she wouldn't go. And so I'd just keep driving. And then she would speed up again and try to pass. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? So I just let her in. And then she gave me the shaka. She was like, ah. And I was like,
it a tourist or a
no, it was like, she looked like a local.
Oh, she's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she gave me the shaka when she passed, and I was like,
She's
I'm
just
about to
messing
start.
with
I'm
you.
about to start doing that, and I started doing the shaka every time somebody let me pass or I let them pass. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I'm fucking nobody likes me. All right, we're getting off track. So there's another game called L.A. How do you pronounce? Is it Noir?
Noir.
Noir. Have you heard of this game?
LA Noir.
L.A.
Yeah.
L.A. Noir. So it's basically it's like the Black Dahlia case. So it's best known for its facial capture and noir aesthetic. Noir. But when you reach the homicide death section of the game, things get real fast. Several cases are needed to be investigated, including the infamous Quarter Moon murders, which are directly inspired by the Black Dahlia case, the real-life unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, which is crazy. It was 1947 when she was murdered. They've never solved that, right?
Nope.
Insane case. If you guys never heard of it, look it up.
If you wanted to be a serial killer, back in the day was your time.
Yeah, and it was just insane how she was found too. She was found mutilated, drained of blood, posed in in the Los Angeles area. I forgot where. It was like on somebody's lawn or some
Yeah,
shit,
just like
She
on the
was,
side of the
yeah,
sidewalk.
on the side
Yeah.
of a sidewalk, like in
Yeah.
an empty lot.
Yeah.
which is crazy. Nobody's seen it, you know.
Sanguinated.
Yeah. So details that LA Noir does
Wasn't like
not shy
her-
away from.
Her mouth was
ear to ear.
cut too
Yeah.
from the corners.
That's horrible.
Yep.
To think how she went, you know, I don't know.
She was cut in
They said it was like a doctor, or they might have been
Yeah,
a doctor,
she
right?
was.
She was cut in
Because
half
the
as
way
well.
she was like, the slices were like precise, and she was drained of
Mhm.
blood. It's like only a doctor could have done something like this.
I like the adaptation from American Horror Story of
That one.
of the Black Dahlia case.
Which season?
Yeah,
was
which
that in?
season?
I don't remember what season it was, but spoiler alert, they made it like there was this really famous doctor in LA, and all the movie stars and stuff when they got pregnant but didn't want the baby would go to see this doctor, and he'd do it like under the table. But he was getting like high off of his own supply, and they made it to where the Black Dahlia wanted to be a movie star, but then she had gotten pregnant, and then the doctor was super high, and he accidentally like murdered her and then put her someplace. I like that adaptation of her story, just because it was the first one I've ever heard that was like explaining what could have happened, because there's literally nothing, we know nothing about her case at all from what I remember. Like nothing at all.
Yeah.
And this gave it like a story, I guess. Of course, that's not real. That's not probably what happened.
Yeah. It's just a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. What was I talking about?
The Black Dahlia.
Black Dahlia. Okay. Oh, L.A. Noire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, she was found mutilated, drained of blood, posed in Los Angeles, and details in L.A. Noire does not shy away from. The game even recreates elements from crime scene photos, newspaper clippings, and real investigation missteps that plagued LAPD back then. Because I think LAPD back then was really corrupt during that time.
I believe it.
And if you're wondering, no, her killer was never caught. As I mentioned, the case remains one of the most disturbing cold cases in American history.
Mm-hmm.
So they put the player inside the detective's shoes. L.A. Noire makes you confront just how flawed and frustrating real life crime scene investigations can be. Do you guys think cold cases like the Black Dahlia case should be adapted into games at all? I think so, in my opinion, because it makes it so like nobody forgets type stuff.
Yeah.
It makes you look into it.
I think it needs to be done delicately.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right.
I just think their stories are so fascinating. Because you could delve into so many aspects of it, like the flaws in our police or investigation forces, or just like go into the human mind of who could have done something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
Very interesting. Another one, guys. Doki Doki Literature Club.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
And the smiling depressive archetype. So Doki Doki, I didn't know about this until Azzilee was talking about it. I thought it was just a fun game, but it's darker than it looks.
It's fun in the beginning.
Yeah, so it looks cute until it becomes one of the most disturbing psychological horror games ever made. One of them. I wouldn't say it's like insanely horrifying, but it's just kind of creepy. What makes it unique isn't the gore, it is how it weaponizes real mental issues, particularly the phenomenon of smiling depression. And for anybody that's unfamiliar with this, smiling depression is when somebody appears outwardly happy or cheerful, but is secretly battling deep emotional pain. Victims often go unnoticed until something tragic happens. In the game, a central character, Sayori, embodies this. She's cheerful, bubbly, even flirty until you uncover her inner monologue, and you realize that she's been hiding some deep, unaliving thoughts
sad.
the entire time. The horror hits not from monsters, but from the moment you realize you miss the signs. So it's not inspired from a killer, but it's inspired from this type of depression.
Yeah. It also is like her storyline is so sad because she's like best friends with like the main character, you the player, and she's like super like in love with you or like flirty, and like the whole game you're just like you can like her, or you could just be like, yeah, no, we're just friends, and then that really like plays on her mental health.
Oh, so you could have different endings?
You could have like a specific girl that you like, I believe, or you like hit on more. I don't know if there's different endings. I do know that there's one scary ending.
Do you guys think games like this should require warning?
I think it does.
Probably.
Does it not?
I don't know. I've never played it.
I believe it does. But yeah, they definitely need warnings.
They definitely need a disclosure warning.
Yeah.
Side note, I watched this thing on Instagram. It was a clip, and it was like this Korean show, right? And it was like a preview of it. So this man goes to the vending machines in Korea, right? And then he gets something out of, how they have him on the street. He gets his drink, but attached to his drink is a note. And he reads the note. He's like, it's from this girl. And she's like, if you're like, if you're lonely, if you want somebody to talk to, take like $1,000 meters, step
Oh
1,000
yeah,
meters
yeah,
to
yeah.
like
I've
the
seen
left
this
or
one.
something.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
And then he goes and he finds another vending machine and he does the same thing, right? And then another note. And it's like, I'm an Aries, or like, I'm a Sagittarius, or what are you? You know, like just information about herself. I have brown hair. Like this is, and then the last one.
This is just a clip too.
Yeah, this is just a clip. And then the very last one is like a picture of her. And the note says like, if you want to meet me, here's my number. So he calls and he's like, yeah, can we meet? Like, and then she says, yes, go to this spot. And then he goes to the spot and there's like this,
It's like a heart.
like a heart of flowers
yeah.
on the ground. She's like, stand right there. And then so he's standing in it and he's like, where is she? Where is she? I don't see her. And then something like floats by him, right?
And he picks it
and
up.
he goes to pick it up and she just
Hits the ground.
mm-hmm.
So she's trying to jump off the building and land on him to kill him, so they could be together forever in a whatever. It was
And
weird.
it's like a show. It's like a Korean
Is it a
I
show?
kind of want to watch it. Yeah.
I thought it was just a clip. I was like, that
no,
shit's
it's like
crazy.
it's a show and it has like 4 intertwining stories that intertwine with each other.
Why do Korean dramas hit
Mhm.
different? They're just insane.
Yeah, but I watched it. I was like, at the end, I was like, what the?
Yeah, I was like, that's insane.
That's
yeah.
so
But yeah, it's like a
wild.
show.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All right, I got like 2 more segments,
Okay.
like the closing out and then this one.
Okay.
I wasn't going to talk about this one, but it's kind of interesting when you think about it in the open world of life. It's not really based on any. Well, I guess it's not based on murders, but it's based on like disappearances. So, have you guys ever heard of the missing 401 phenomenon?
No.
So, the missing 401 phenomenon, it's gained traction online recently. It's about the hundreds of mysterious disappearances in U.S. national parks where like people vanish without a trace. There's no bodies, no evidence under some bizarre circumstances. So there's a lot of games that kind of touch on this, and several open world horrors like The Forest, Firewatch, Signal Simulator. I'm dying. Signal Simulator, and they're all inspired by these unsettling themes where it's like an isolated wilderness, strange disappearances, distorted signals, and entities inside of the woods. I wanted to play Firewatch, but I prefer watching these games, as I said before. So
Just a baby.
yeah, these games don't directly mention missing 411, but it's like clearly it's based off of this type of DNA, the fear of something hidden that's preying in the woods or somewhere lost or on lost people. In the real world cases, like there's chilling events that happen where some hikers were found miles from where they vanished, missing shoes, missing clothes, with no cause of death ever identified. I just recently watched this one case. It was about, I forgot where it was. It was like somewhere like in Wisconsin or like Kansas or some shit like that. And this guy, he would put ads on Craigslist about like, hey, I need help with my farm. I'm looking for somebody that's not really tied to anybody that's going to miss them if they're gone for such a long time.
That is
Just listen. Yeah, listen. Yeah. He's like, I'm looking for somebody who's not tied or has any like family bonds where they'll be able to stay here for a long time. And they mentioned like, you know, they're usually looking for somebody who's just like older and chill and stuff like that. That's just down to work at my farm, take care of my stuff. And then when people would respond to this ad, he would look for certain things. So if they say like, I have a family, or if I've had military experience, or I would, you know, they know karate or some shit, or they know how to defend themselves, he would not respond to them. But if it was like people that were like, yeah, you know, I'm just going to get out of this. My kids are all grown. I don't talk to them much, or, you know, I have no family. He'll invite them to go meet them at this restaurant, and they'll like talk it up. And then in some cases, he would take them to his farm, right? And damn it, what was I saying? Yeah, he would take them to the farm, but in sense, he would take them because, you know, once they pack up all their stuff, they head there. So he would take them to like the woods, and they'll be like walking in the woods, and he'll let them go first, and then he'll just shoot them. Yeah.
Ew.
Go ahead, babe. What were you gonna say? You're gonna say that's crazy.
nothing. I was just like,
that's crazy.
You're talking in circles. You
Yeah.
gotta spit it out.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to build the environment. But anyways, there was the case where there was a guy walking in front of him, but the gun, he heard the click, and he turned around and the gun jammed on him. And so he pushed him, knocked the gun out of his hand, and somehow he ran away. He got shot in the arm while he was running. He stayed out in the woods for like 8 hours until it was nighttime. Then he ran to the street, found somebody. They called the cops, and he recognized, he remembers this guy. They eventually find all these clues, build a case, and they figure out who it was, But he did it to like 8 people.
Jesus.
Yeah. And what he would do, he would just take all their belongings that they would bring to go to the farm and just sell them on the street.
Oh my
That's
god.
crazy.
Yeah, he would just sell their stuff and make money. Insane.
Crazy.
I forgot what it was. I just recently watched it. I forgot who it was. And then he just denied he ever killed anybody. It's like, dude, this guy got away from you and he knows who you are. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, have you guys ever heard of cases of like missing 411 where like people would just go to the woods? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a ton of national parks.
There's tons of them. There's a whole documentary series on Netflix about the disappearances in national parks.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And all the murders that used to happen there.
You are absolutely correct there.
Yep. I should have went into like justice department for my career instead of healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should just be a detective.
Honestly, probably. You're pretty logical.
Yeah. Blood and guts don't scare me.
Yeah. So final thoughts, guys, on the horror that hits too close to home. When horror games draw from real crimes, experiments, tragedies, or things that they walk a thin line on, some use it as education and some use it to entertain. Others want to push buttons, and, it is what it is. Regardless, we get these games, and it's pretty, in my opinion, it's pretty cool that they're able to mix these two genres together. Real life obviously is scarier or games are obviously scarier when it's like real life type stuff. But which of these topics that we spoke about today kind of gets you a little bit or makes you think like that's kind of crazy? You guys.
I liked talking about the Black Dahlia game, inspired game. I think that one's really cool.
L.A. Noire.
Yeah, I think that's cool because it's like an unsolved, like no one's this murder is probably never gonna be solved.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that they have a game that's kind of surrounding it and delving into.
Yeah, it's never gonna get solved. I don't see how, because the person who probably died already.
Yep. Probably, but I think that's cool. I think
because it's what 1947.
Yeah, you said 40s.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. And the 401 series.
Yeah. He wants to get up. Look.
411.
411. Sorry, 411 series.
Yeah.
Because I think Yosemite is on that list, right? It's probably one of the higher ones.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure
Yosemite, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Rocky Mountains are probably on there.
Grand Canyon, I think, has a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool because those cases we'll never know about because obviously parks don't want to publicize that.
Yeah, they don't. Nobody would want to go.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah. You know what's kind of weird? Whenever Blacklabel and I will be like driving like on a road trip or something, we'll just be driving down the street.
Why do I already know what you're going to talk about?
We'll just be driving down the street, and you know how Washington's very tree, like,
and there's just like tons of gaps and stuff.
Tons of gaps like on
the
back roads and on the like deserted highways and freeways. We always just drive by, and it's like there's probably a dead body in there somewhere.
Like no, for real.
Like for real. There's probably like 2 or 3 in there right now because it's so weird. It's like you're driving on the road and then it just drops down to nothing but woods, and we're like, you can just bloop.
Yeah, there's that bridge in near Lilywop where it's like super high. It's like a canyon underneath it, and that's so cool to me because it's like you could throw somebody off that bridge and you'll never find them.
That's so cool to you, huh? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Everyone has these thoughts. It's just whether or not you act on these thoughts or not. And majority of America and the population don't act on these thoughts.
Yeah.
But I think it's perfectly normal to have them.
I'm a grown up.
Yeah. To have them.
You have them. You just don't act on them, or you realize that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never do that. I'm not a criminal.
Yeah,
I'm not a murderer.
The 2 games that I like talking about today was like The Suffering, where they use the monsters as what they died to.
That one was pretty interesting.
And then Outlast and the whole CIA experimentation type stuff is pretty interesting.
It's experimentation. That could be like a whole series because there's like games and there's like books, there's movies.
Historical events.
Captain America was experimented on. Look at him.
Yeah.
He was thriving.
Yeah, he was one of the few that was thriving. You looked at what's his name, Red Skull. He was not thriving.
He was not thriving. He did that to himself, though.
That's true.
He wasn't really experimented on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for this episode for today. You know, appreciate y'all.
Yeah. It was fascinating.
You guys want to add anything? No?
Don't go hiking alone.
Yes.
Don't do road trips alone.
Yes.
Yes, don't do that.
Bring an extra container of gas if
Yeah.
you do.
Don't
But
pick up hitchhikers.
3 spare tires. Like, because you can never... Make sure your lug nuts are always tightened when you leave a gas station.
Just,
you know,
just,
check. Don't let motherfuckers around you.
Yeah, just take your car in before a road trip. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, we need to take my car in for
Yeah, don't
a road trip.
don't go into the shops to buy snacks and leaving your vehicle unattended.
Yes, especially around creepy people.
Yeah.
I've watched too many films.
I
where, like,
I take my keys out with me to just put gas,
Yeah,
and I
who
lock the
does
door,
it?
and I just stay outside with my car locked.
Yeah, I always have this thing where, like, if you don't lock your doors when you're outside your vehicle, someone could just, like, sneakily pop
Yeah.
into your back
it's
seat.
happened. It's
Yeah.
happened.
And just hang out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be safe, man. Real life
Every
shit
morning,
happens.
I, like, take the flashlight on my phone and I, like, look at my back seat
Ah.
before I open the door.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yep. So keep grinding those levels and finishing those side quests, boys and girls.
As always, this has been Co-op Chronicles with Pint-Sized Geisha, Blacklabel, and me, Azzilee.
Bye. I'm tired.
Tired of you complaining.
Tired of your face.
We gather round the mic, tales of knights and dice, gaming worlds collide, hobbies come alive. Azzilee and Geisha chat, Blacklabel's where it's at. Movies and stories told, secrets to unfold. Co-op Chronicles, come and join the ride in a world where fun resides.